She was driving me nuts.
Why?
She had to get a whole new outfit.
Thank you. So what do you need? Just a few names.
The film kicks off by depicting a surge in criminal activities hitting Columbus, marked by shootings, muggings, and unprecedented levels of violence. Despite this, Governor John Messer asserts that crime is at an all-time low. During a protest about a proposed pipeline, Messer pledges an independent study. Abby Hill and her family, listening to the governor's address, are pleased that he acknowledges Abby's mother Vivian's work. Meanwhile, Vivian heads to the airport to pick up her husband Stan returning from a job interview in California. Stan, excited about the job prospect, anticipates managing a factory in the city. As they reach the car park engrossed in conversation, they discover a flat tire. While Stan is about to change it, a man approaches asking for money for his ticket. After Stan declines, another man attacks him with a pipe, and in the chaos, the first man brutally stabs Vivian before escaping. Immediately after waking up, Stan crawls to Vivian, holding her lifeless body in his arms and weeping. He heads to the police station soon after to report the crime, but the indifferent cops downplay the incident. One detective suggests that Stan's forehead cut might have affected his vision, making it challenging to identify a suspect. Another detective probes into the state of Stan's marriage before the alleged attack, leaving Stan bewildered about its relevance. Tearfully saying goodbye to Vivian at her funeral, Stan abruptly leaves before the service begins, having come only for her. Seeing the governor's vague response to Vivian's slaying on the news angers Stan. In frustration, he throws Vivian's Bible, discovering it open to a specific page with the verse "I am full of the wrath of the Lord." Abby checks on Stan, who insists he's fine. Stan is later called to the police station to identify the suspect in his wife's murder and recognizes the man who initially asked for money. Stan is unwavering in his belief that he has identified the suspect, but the detectives cast doubt on his decision. Expecting justice, Stan is infuriated when he sees the man walk free from the station without consequences, even receiving a cold wink. Confronting the detectives, they dismiss him, suggesting time may catch up with the suspect. Frustrated, Stan storms out. Detectives Gibson and Walker discuss the suspect's gang ties, led by a man named Lemmy K, and express a lack of interest in pursuing the case. Abby joins Stan at a diner, where he shares details about the suspect's release. Although Abby invites him to stay with her family, Stan opts for solitude. Trying to numb his pain with alcohol, Stan remembers a past life for Vivian but chooses to leave it behind. He drives through the city and returns to the attack site, finding no one. On his way home, he spots his wife's killer with two others. In response, Stan smashes his closet wall, revealing a box with weapons and fake identities. Stan reaches out to his former comrade Dennis, a retired Special Forces member, seeking information about the men who attacked his wife. Visiting Dennis's barber shop, a cover for his Black Ops business, it's revealed that Stan is a former Special Forces operative who left the ops for love. Though Dennis is still upset, he understands Stan's motivation. Advising Stan to abandon his quest for vengeance, Stan insists on justice, and, recognizing his determination, Dennis provides a file with details on the men, including Vivian's killer, Charlie. Armed with the information, Stan focuses on his first target, Nathan, a black male from the attack. Finding him at a bar playing pool, Stan witnesses Nathan impressing a girl by offering Vivian's purse as a gift. When Nathan notices Stan, he flees upon recognizing his face. A gunfire exchange ensues before Nathan disappears. Stan, undeterred, hunts for Nathan and easily disarms him when he attempts to ambush. Stan forcefully interrogates Nathan, using his gun to demand Charlie's whereabouts. Nathan reveals that Vivian's attack was more than a robbery. Dennis arrives, warning Stan about approaching cops. When Nathan reaches for his gun, both men shoot him, loot his pockets, dump him in the trash, and set him on fire. Unbeknownst to them, a nearby man records the incident. Over food, Dennis cautions Stan about the lack of a solid plan, fearing for Stan's safety. Stan insists he can handle it alone, but Dennis discloses he was involved from the moment he heard about Vivian. Finding a cell phone in Nathan's belongings, they head to a local club, where drug kingpin Lemmy K learns of Nathan's death and the hunt for Charlie. Lemmy K watches the video, ordering his men to target their families and even their dogs. Stan and Abby meet at a diner, where she plans to collect Vivian's belongings from the house. Stan returns to Dennis, who presents a diverse selection of weapons and body armor for Stan's upcoming mission. Dennis expresses concern about Stan's plan, warning of potential enemies after vengeance. Despite Dennis urging him to reconsider and leave the country, Stan remains resolute. Dennis retrieves a number from Nathan's phone, belonging to a tattoo artist named Lars who operates a downtown tattoo shop. Stan calls the number to verify. Meanwhile, detectives Gibson and Walker meet with Lemmy, who is upset that the cops aren't supporting him despite payments. Lemmy orders them to find those responsible. Governor Meserve, planning to downplay pipeline threats, receives a call from Gibson, and they meet in an alley. Gibson informs Meserve about Lemmy K losing his man and threatening to expose a video involving the governor's son. It's revealed that Meserve collaborates with Lemmy K for power. Meserve instructs Gibson to contain the situation, hinting at potential advancement. Meanwhile, Stan goes to the tattoo shop, feigning interest in a tattoo, but Lars is absent. Growing increasingly suspicious of Stan's inquiries, the tattoo artist discreetly messages Lars, who instructs him to keep Stan occupied. Meanwhile, Dennis, who had a planned rendezvous with Stan, receives an alert at his barbershop and rushes there to find the entire place in disarray. Charlie emerges, holding Dennis at gunpoint, surrounded by his henchmen armed with bats. Revealing a photo of Stan and Dennis disposing of Nathan, Charlie demands Stan's whereabouts. Seizing an opportunity, Dennis disarms Charlie, unleashing a brutal assault on the other men. Despite Charlie escaping, Dennis drags one of his accomplices to the basement. While Stan is in the process of getting a tattoo on his back, Lars arrives and takes over the task. Stan remains composed, casually mentioning his daughter's interest in a fly tattoo Lars did for her friend, struggling to recall the friend's name. Suddenly, Lars brandishes a gun, instructing Stan to stand, revealing an I Am Wrath tattoo on his back. Swiftly disarming Lars, Stan engages in a physical confrontation, rendering Lars helpless. In an attempt to defend himself, Lars employs an antique sword, but Stan skillfully disarms him using a box cutter. Pressing for information about Charlie's whereabouts, Lars opts to end his own life on the blade. Without hesitation, Stan seizes Lars's cell, drags his lifeless body behind the counter, and discovers a stash of drugs in a nearby bag. Reaching out to Dennis, Stan learns about the attack on a shop, prompting them to meet up and discreetly dispose of the bodies. Speculating that the stash may be connected to Charlie, Stan devises a plan to use it as bait to lure him into a trap. That night, after cleaning up, Stan reflects on family videos before succumbing to the haunting visions of Vivian, drowning his thoughts with alcohol as he retires to bed. The following day, Stan visits the church Vivian used to attend, desperately praying for a sign. The priest joins him, sparking Stan's introspection about whether Vivian paid for his past misdeeds. Confessing to taking numerous lives, some with reason and others without, Stan grapples with his conscience. Simultaneously, Abby and her husband arrive at the house to collect Vivian's belongings. Discovering a gun alongside files on her mother's killers, Abby gathers the items. However, Charlie and another man unexpectedly appear, opening fire on their van. Stan arrives shortly after, revealing that Abby saw his gun and files, leading to tension. Abby's husband is shot in the shoulder during the attack, and she expresses anger at Stan for putting them in danger. Concerned for her son's safety, she fears they might be next. Stan, swearing to protect them, urges them to get a hotel room for safety. Gibson uncovers Stan's identity through an FBI contact, revealing to Meserve that Stan was formerly part of Black Ops. In response, Meserve instructs Gibson to enlist professionals at any cost, aiming to make the situation disappear. Meanwhile, Charlie, seated in his car, receives a text from Stan proposing a rendezvous to retrieve his missing stash at a Korean nightclub. Stan and Dennis gear up and head to the club, spotting Charlie. They text him, arranging a meeting in the VIP room. As Charlie grows suspicious of a man with a bag, tension escalates as guns are drawn. Stan enters, prompting Charlie to fire, but Stan and Dennis retaliate, forcing Charlie to seek cover. Pleading for his life, Charlie divulges that Vivian's killing was at Lemmy K's behest due to her nosiness. Hitmen arrive at the club, leading Stan to shoot Charlie dead. They shoot their way out of the club, eliminating several men in the process. Returning to their hideout, Dennis enlightens Stan about the dangerous nature of Lemmy K, emphasizing the threat he poses by revealing he orchestrated Charlie's demise. Despite Dennis urging Stan to leave, Stan remains determined to bring this to an end. Returning home, he revisits Vivian's research and discovers her investigation into the pipeline unveiled an alarming 82% water contamination, potentially halting its production. Stan connects the dots, realizing that Meserve had Vivian killed to conceal the findings and protect his interests. Meanwhile, Abby and her family prepare to leave the house when Lemmy K and his men forcefully enter, demanding Abby to call Stan. Seizing an opportunity, Abby stabs one man, but in the ensuing struggle, her daughter is shot in the stomach. Receiving a distressing text from Abby, Stan senses something is amiss and rushes to the house, gun drawn. Observing the situation through a window, he opts to break in through the basement, taking out the first assailant. As Lemmy seizes Abby, ordering Stan to drop his gun, a timely shot from Dennis outside disarms Lemmy, enabling Stan to strike back and knock him down. Outside, Dennis faces an ambush, getting shot by a gangster, but he retaliates, eliminating his attacker when he comes looking for him. Holding Lemmy at gunpoint, Stan demands to know Maserv's involvement, but before Lemmy can respond, Gibson shoots him dead. Feeling trapped, Gibson faces a predicament, but Dennis intervenes, incapacitating Walker and compelling Gibson to comply. Together, they coerce Gibson into driving them. Stan confronts Gibson about endangering his family while releasing criminals. Gibson discloses that Lemmy was blackmailing the governor with an incriminating video of his son, forcing the police to protect Lemmy's men in exchange for the governor's cooperation on illicit activities. Forcing Gibson to drive to the governor's compound, Stan renders him unconscious. Gibson awakens handcuffed in the driver's seat, realizing too late that the car is rigged to explode, resulting in a fatal blast. Walker narrowly escapes the trunk as Stan shoots his way into the governor's mansion. Inside, the governor ambushes and shoots Stan, leading to an intense fistfight. Despite Messer gaining the upper hand and holding Stan at gunpoint, Stan confronts him about Vivian's death. Messer justifies sacrifices for the greater good. Instead of shooting Stan, Messer inadvertently gets too close, allowing Stan to use a knife and fatally stab him in the stomach before succumbing. Messer persistently questions Stan's identity, to which Stan calmly asserts, "I am Wrath." The compound is swiftly inundated with cops, surrounding the building with snipers trained on Stan. Despite being riddled with bullets as he walks out, it's revealed that Stan wore a concealed bulletproof vest. 3 days later, recovering in the hospital, Abby and her family visit Stan. A lawyer informs Abby that Stan will be directly sent to federal prison, with the possibility of never hearing from him again due to his background. Distraught by this revelation, Abby rushes to bid her father farewell before being asked to leave. During a guard shift change, Walker discreetly enters Stan's room, planning to finish the job. Instead of shooting immediately, he indulges in a villainous monologue. However, Stan, armed with a gun Abby gave him earlier, shoots Walker dead from under the covers. Dennis, disguised as a doctor, arrives, conceals Walker's body, and hands Stan a bag, instructing him to get dressed. Dennis then guides Stan out of the hospital, and the two plot to leave the country. A few weeks later, Abby receives a postcard from Stan in Brazil, assuring her that he is doing well. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching and see you again soon. Take care.